Hi everyone. In this check-in for week 25 of my no-buy year, I wanted to talk about the ethics of PR and when it can become a problem. So I've seen some content floating around about PR and sponsorships and influencers in general and how it's a problem for those of us trying to be conscious consumers. And just consumerism in general and the destruction of the planet and overconsumption and waste and all that stuff. There's no shortage of content that's discussing why PR and sponsorships and influencers are problematic. I love to consume that kind of content actually because it reminds me not to fall into the traps that influencers present to us regarding buying stuff and whether or not there can ever be an unbiased review if someone receives something for free as PR. In my thumbnail, you'll notice that I was posing with several of the items that I've seen influencers receiving as PR that I have bought with my own money. So I have never received any PR. I have mixed feelings about receiving PR in general as a concept, as a principle. I will never say never, but I do think that if I ever accept any PR, it is going to be very consciously done. And honestly, I'm going to cross that bridge when I come to it, because I'm not there yet. I don't even have my details available online for people to send PR to. So you're not in danger of seeing any of that on here. But you will see the things that I bought with my own money that might have been PR for other influencers on here. For example, the items in the thumbnail, the Vivea shoes, the Pollen handbags, of which I have a vast collection. You might be seeing the whole collection later this summer. And my earrings are actually from Ana Luisa. I got them off of Poshmark, so secondhand, but they are from the very popular influencer brand Ana Luisa. So, as you may have already seen from the video earlier this week, if I managed to get it up, of everything I was ever influenced to buy, you know that I have been influenced hardcore. I've been extremely influenced. And it's partly because of the PR that other influencers received that I was influenced to buy things. And I understand the excitement of receiving PR, not firsthand because I haven't received any, but I can understand as a creator, I guess, it still feels weird to say, but I can understand as somebody with the possible prospect of receiving things for free in the mail in order to showcase them on my channel and put them in front of all of your eyeballs, which I'm not going to do. But I can understand how that could be exciting for somebody, especially somebody that likes to shop and has fallen into the trap of over-shopping and being excited by receiving new stuff and opening mail packages and waiting and tracking and all the things that come with shopping, but doing it without spending your own money. But I think that's exactly why it's dangerous for many people. Not just the viewers of the channels that receive PR, but also the people receiving the PR themselves. I think it's impossible to remain in touch with conscious spending and conscious consumption if a lot of what you receive is sent to you for free. Regardless of the motivations behind that, I think the moment you receive something for free, it changes the dynamic. It changes the nature of your relationship with that item. You didn't spend your own hard-earned cash on acquiring this piece, and the decisions you made, therefore, were made less intentionally and less carefully. I can even apply this to examples of my own life, right? From these very brands. There's a reason I chose these brands for the thumbnail. These specific brands are brands that I'm actually kind of still interested in, and I can imagine receiving as PR in the future. And again, never say never, and I'm actually curious about your thoughts of whether it would be appropriate for somebody like me who has been influenced by other people to buy these items with my own money, and I actually like and use these items. Would it be appropriate to receive these items as PR? I am still grappling with that, and like I said, I'm not at that bridge yet, and I will cross it if and when I come to it, but I do believe that the ethics of it are murky and possibly unethical as a blanket whole. But going back to my thought exercise, so I have the Vivea Mary Jane flats already, and I also have this Pollen handbag, among others. Both of these brands have been known to send influencers PR. So would it be ethical for somebody like me to possibly even reach out to these brands and see if they would send me, for example, the Vivea pink slides that have been on my wish list since the beginning of the year. Or for Pollen to send me one of their newer model handbags to see if I actually like what they're doing these days in their newer models. They've since come out with the Moki, which is the one with a bunch of folds, and I think it actually has steered the brand in a direction that's more in line with the mainstream of handbags. And they've come out with a net bag, like a woven net bag made with leather scraps that they've made little leather beads out of. And I actually really like the idea of repurposing their leather offcuts that way. It's actually kind of fascinating that they've been able to make kind of a new product out of their scraps. So I actually love that idea. But I've already decided that I have more than enough Pollen handbags and I have more than enough summer sandals for this year. So as far as my personal acquisition decisions, if I were spending my own money, I would not buy the Vivea sandals right now or more Pollen bags right now. And therefore, if I were to receive either of these items without spending my money, you could say that it would be disingenuous to my genuine goals, at least for this year, of not buying and not acquiring things. And I have to wonder if this is the same for other influencers. So would they have bought the items with their own money? In these specific instances, unlike other influencers, I have a track record of buying these items with my own money. So in some ways, these brands are actually on brand for me, which is something that not all influencers could say. And I'm not referring to myself as an influencer in this example, please don't get me wrong. But I think that's the other part of PR that can be a little bit slimy, is that I think when PR originated, PR sponsorships, paid content, etc., I think when all of that originated, it was much more organic. As organic as it could possibly be anyway, which how organic can it be to be sent things for free and then review them as if you bought them or present them to your viewers for them to buy, you know, basically being a salesperson. In that vein, I'm going to take these things off of my screen so that I don't have product placement, even though at some point in my channel's future, there might be purses displayed behind me, but that's a bridge to cross when I actually get the shelves up. Anyway, I have to wonder how many influencers would be buying the items that they're sent as PR with their own money if they weren't sent them for free. And when you are sent something for free, it does feel a little bit rude to then trash talk the things that you were gifted. There is another case to argue that if you already have a lot of items in that same category, you might have some expertise in reviewing those items for practical purposes. But how are you ever going to really know if the review is genuine? Now, those are the surface level problems of PR, right? So if somebody gets something for free, you don't know if they would buy it with their own money, you don't know if they really like the brand, unless you do know that they really like the brand, like in my case with the collection of Pollens and Vivea shoes, and Ana Luisa jewelry even. But even in the cases where somebody has demonstrated brand loyalty without being sponsored, you don't know if they would continue to purchase from the brand with their own money if they weren't sponsored or sent something for free. And you don't know how their opinions towards the company have changed as a result of being kind of on their VIP list in a way, in the sense of receiving the product for free, which is not something a normal consumer would have access to, obviously. A normal consumer would have to part with cash to get stuff. So, like I said, those are the surface level things. Where I think PR and sponsorships gets even more hairy, and the aspect that I have not yet seen talked about in other people's videos, at least the ones that I've seen, is that I believe that this advent of PR and channel sponsorships, ad sponsorships, earning money from companies to sell other people things, to feature them in your aspirational videos, I believe that that has set up a desire in today's youth or today's young adults to become an influencer and to live this lifestyle and to seek this kind of career, if I can call it a career. I think there have been studies done or surveys done where a lot of Gen Z says that their aspirational career, what they want to be, is an influencer or a YouTuber or a TikToker or an Instagrammer. So there is data out there that suggests that people want this lifestyle. And I think where that becomes particularly harmful is because a lot of the content people are creating, a lot of the ways people make money online is through being a salesperson or a face for a brand. And this leads people to then imitate that kind of content on their own dime in the hopes of later being able to create that content for free. And not everybody is going to get to be on those PR lists, right? Not everybody is even going to hit 1,000 subscribers or become monetized, or it might take years for them to do so. I think where the dangers of sponsorships, PR, making money online through products really lies is by selling people the illusion that you can do this too. And that by making people want things that they don't need and wouldn't have otherwise heard of if they hadn't seen your content in your video, you could make your living. This is where the true harm lies, both in that the people who succeed are then peddlers for all of this junk that we don't truly need and that is straining the Earth's resources and feeding the overproduction crisis by giving the producers an outlet of the consumerism to keep on feeding the production so that the cycle continues. And then also it's harmful for the people that don't succeed because they're out all of the products that they bought for review, all of the hauls that they might have bought in the hopes of creating content. They've been sold a dream of this aspirational career and lifestyle where you get to control all of your workflow, schedule your own vacations, and not have to deal with management and not have to have a boss. I guess the other problem I have with it is that it's kind of devaluing society's real needs, in my opinion. So being an influencer might sound like a great job, and having control over all of your working life might sound great, but it kind of ignores the fact that many jobs exist because they're real needs of society and they're really valuable. And there's nothing glamorous about being a waste collector, for example, but they're a valuable part of our society. There's not a whole lot that's glamorous about being a school teacher either, to be honest, but that's a valuable part of our society. You know, doctors and lawyers and librarians and grocery store checkout managers and restaurant workers and servers and hotel clerks and cleaners and all of these things that help our society continue to function have been kind of de-glamorized or devalued, or people who then have to settle for jobs like that might not be happy thinking about how they wanted to be an influencer or a content creator. I don't know. I just think the illusion that brands paying for content creation has created is a damaging one. The aspirational illusion that the PR unboxings and the sponsored ads, people getting things for free, people reviewing them and making their own living that way, sets up that as an aspirational career for the next generation. And it just feeds the cycle of constant consumerism. Constant wanting to buy, constant looking for things that you don't need, constant elevating of material possessions. And I guess the bottom line is that's what I think the true problem with PR is. That's when PR becomes truly perilous and, dare I say, unethical. Let me add a point about brand trips, actually, because I think that's a massive point that feeds into my main problem with PR and how it creates this aspirational lifestyle that people want to attain and therefore spend their own money in pursuit of. You know, brand trips that have been done. I know Shein's done one, Tarte did one to Bora Bora. You are targeting younger people that look up to these influencers. All of their followers are probably the demographic that would love to go on this brand trip, that would love to have an expenses paid vacation by a makeup company, that want to have makeup sent to them from the brands like that. So it's just so dangerous and damaging to present it as if a normal person can receive all these perks and benefits for free and live this aspirational life just by posting content and putting up pretty pictures of themselves in bikinis. I think it's really irresponsible, not only to the mental health of the people consuming this content, but also just for the planet in general, for society in general, this concept of wealth versus poverty or the middle class, people working for their money, and how people contribute to society and get rewarded for it or not. There's so many thoughts. I almost want to be a fly on the wall at one of these brand trips and see what actually happens, because when I travel, there's usually a purpose for it that's related to my work, my job. I'm usually there to try to educate or inspire or receive education or inspiration, or I'm traveling for vacation where I've planned to spend my own hard-earned money to take myself, my family, to get a break from everyday life where we live. So to go on a vacation paid for by a brand, what am I receiving from that? I guess the purpose of brand trips is to be creating content that features the brand and makes them look good, but I can't even imagine the experience of a brand trip. I guess the appeal of the jet-setting lifestyle is still alive and well. It's the celebrity idea of being able to fly in a private jet without a care for the expense or the damages to the environment, while the peasants are sitting at home working their normal jobs that society needs to continue to function. And I realize that I'm perhaps not essential in my job as a musician, but I at least like to think that I'm improving the quality of some people's lives by offering a source of classical entertainment, and in some cases, teaching people how to play a classical instrument. And I guess finally, the other problem I have with it is it's getting people to do the dirty work of advertising for them. You don't have to pay a big marketing team when you can send an influencer a product for free, and they'll put it in front of the eyes of millions of followers, and it'll even be more attractive to them that way. In my video about monetizing my channel, I mentioned how I've never been influenced to buy something from a real ad. I've never clicked on a marketing ad and bought something. It's always the real people in their videos, more organically mentioning a product or featuring it, that makes me want to buy it. So not only is it cheaper for the company to send PR and get free advertising that way, it's also more effective because people trust the people they follow. What a mess. What a mess we've created. Let me know your thoughts on PR and whether it's ever ethical. Using my example, and perhaps putting aside the fact that my whole message is about not buying things you don't need, so maybe it doesn't apply to my particular channel, but if somebody is already a demonstrated fan of a brand, like I am with Ana Luisa, Vivea, or Pauline, is it ever ethical to receive items from brands you already are loyal to as PR? Or is it always going to be a problematic situation because there might not be any circumstance where your judgment is not colored by not having to pay for it with your own money and your own hard work? Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now. Man, and my mind was blown when I was reading about someone's comment on one of my old videos about how somebody said no to PR because they had to pay for specific recycling for all the boxes and waste. It's insanity. Imagine if you piled up all the packaging material from PR